Hello everyone, it's half term, so we're out here again, and we've got a special request this time from Craig. So he said that he got problems because he just feels stiff as a board, nothing really moves very well. So what could he do? So I thought if we put together some little short sequences that everyone can do, quite frankly, but it's going to get the spine mobilised and open up the hip joints, and also to stretch hamstrings as well. So for this first sequence, you're going to need a TheraBand, or to be honest, a pair of tights would do if you haven't got a TheraBand, or maybe a scarf, something that you can just hook your feet into. So we're going to start really simply with pelvic tilts first of all. So it's the usual position on your back, head on a cushion if you need to align the skull and the neck and the upper back. Knees bent, fist width apart with your feet, and you're just going to start with little pelvic tilts. So just breathe. Doesn't matter if you breathe in or you breathe out, as long as you just breathe. So we'll do 5 pelvic tilts just to start to get things moving. And as you're doing it, just notice what happens with your body. Just notice if, as you do a pelvic tilt at this end, do you lift your chin up at the other end? So, as those of you in my classes will know, you are not auditioning for a vampire movie. So keep the chin down, and that means the back of your neck stays nice and lengthened. So that's probably 5. Hopefully he's counting, because clearly I'm not. So let's take that into a spine curl. So let's go in stages. So take a breath in. Then breathe out, do a pelvic tilt, but this time go to your waistband. Pause, roll back to neutral. Take a breath in again, breathe out, roll up a bit higher. Maybe just past the waistband, pause there, breathe in, breathe out, roll back to neutral. Breathe in again, breathe out, tiny bit higher still. Pause, rolling back to neutral. So each one, you're going a little bit higher each time, and back, and just keep going. So this is about unlocking the spine, so you don't need to rush it. You're not trying to be a plank, you're trying to go bone by bone, rib by rib, slowly up, slowly down. And as you're doing it, just start to notice, do your knees stay in line? Do they wiggle apart? Do you roll onto the outside of your feet? Or are you nicely firm through the whole of the foot? Again, the neck and the shoulders, are you starting to tense the jaw, lift the shoulders up, all that kind of stuff. Just notice what's going on with the rest of the body. And if you've done about 5 of those, you're back to neutral. Then we're going to bring the legs together for hip rolls. So bring your knees and feet together, and then take your hands a little bit wider apart. I'll move my legs out of the way. And then start by rolling both knees to the right. Pausing, roll both knees to the centre and then to the left. So what might be helpful to think about is really using your abdominal wall. Don't just flail your legs from side to side, because that's kind of not Pilates. So think of pulling one hip bone to the other hip bone, as if you could sort of draw them together, and then you'll really feel the abdominals working. Pull your waist in, and then slowly, little bit by little bit, do more and more. See if you can come over further and further each time, and do it slowly. There's no need to rush any of this at all. Back to the centre. So let's do 5 each side of those. Are we there? That was really fast. Felt really fast. Okay, so now you're going to do a little kind of hip and bum stretch. So if you take the feet slightly apart, you're going to cross your right ankle over your left knee. Then just lift your left leg towards you. So the trick is pull your thigh bone towards you, push your opposite knee away from you, and then you get a stretch in that right side, the right hip, and just hold it there. Now, for some of you, when you get into this position, you're going to have your head lifted up off the floor. If that's the case, try and let your head go back onto your cushions, and then use your thigh muscles. So just pull your thighs towards you, push the knee away from you, just by kind of using your legs to do it rather than pulling and elbowing, and you'll get the same effect. Then you're going to let that foot drop down to the floor, and this time you're going to take that hand out the way for me. You're going to slide your leg over to the side here until your foot hits the deck, and then push that knee away from you. Perfect. Okay, so just think of that knee pushing away towards that other foot, and you get a nice kind of opening through the front of the hip. So this leg supported on the floor, and just keep the shoulders and everything else really, really relaxed. Then, when you've had a couple of breaths there, bring the leg back up to the top. And those of us old enough, you do a quick Kenny Everett switch around. So swap your legs around to the other side. And then lift that leg towards you. So either hold it behind both thighs and elbow this one away from you, or just use your legs to do it themselves. So legs in, one knee away. So you're getting a stretch into the left buttock now and hip. And then let that relax back down. And then you're going to let that drop over towards the floor. Drop it down and press that knee away. And just let the front of that hip open really, really nicely. And then we will finish with a hamstring stretch. So let's put right foot in the band. There you go. So get a little bit less tension on it. Hold it in both hands for me, please. No, hold either band in either hand and elbows down on the mat. Okay, so you're going to press the leg away from you. Get your pelvis into neutral. So you want that little curve in your lower back. Really, really important. So bring the leg up towards the ceiling and then bend the knee slightly. There. So you're going to have to work out for yourself where this is. So basically, you want to feel that you're stretching into the belly of the hamstrings. Okay? Now he's got his foot in the way of the camera. So make sure that you haven't pressed your lower back into the mat. Where your waistband is, there's some daylight. He's fairly flexible, so your leg might not look like this. But what's really important is you want to feel the stretch here. If you can feel it at the back of your knees, you're not stretching your hamstrings. So you just need to bend the knee enough that you can feel it there, not here, because then you're stretching ligaments and tendons, and you don't want to be stretching them. They're not designed to stretch. It's the belly. Yeah, he's kind of shaking here. And then at the same time that you're doing that, if you think of sending your tailbone into the mat, then that's kind of really good. So this is where you want to get and stay there for ages. If you want to change hamstring length, you've got to put some effort in, which isn't kind of hard effort, because this is literally all you've got to do. But you've got to kind of sit there and hold that and, you know, I don't know, listen to the Archers or Question of Sport, Coronation Street, first half on one leg, second half on the other leg. Whatever it takes. If you want to change the length of your muscles, you've got to hold them in position. So that's one done. You can hold it longer, so you have to pause it at this point. And then he's going to switch to the other leg and do the other side. Okay, so you want your elbows down on the floor, pelvis and spine in neutral. Bring the leg up to where you feel a bit of a stretch. Then bend that knee slightly. and then just sustain that stretch. So think of tailbone into the mat, keeping that little gap in your lower back, and make sure that it's right in the belly of your hamstring. So that's the middle of your thigh. Not here, not down here, but right in there. So kind of get it where it's comfortably uncomfortable, and then stay there. And as it starts to get used to it, just move it again till it's comfortably uncomfortable and stay there. And that was the dog coming in her dog flap. I don't know if you heard that. So despite the fact that we've got the windows open here and she could have just come this way, no, she went around there. But you see, you've not noticed that because you've been so busy hanging on to your hamstring stretch. Okay, so you can come out of there. So that's the first little stretch session. So we're going to stop it now, and then we're going to add to it. This is the first of a little series, so you can choose to do whichever one you want.